Welcome to Shiksharthi, and today's our topic is a continuation video on functions. So let us start with one of the different concept in functions. This is called inverse function. What is meant by the word inverse? Means something which is going in reverse of the things. Like here, what is inverse function? To make it very simple, if I take it like this, if I say there is a function called domain to range, then f inverse will be a range to domain. Now please observe, this is very important point which we need to note down. This also I am calling it as function. We should not forget this. This we are also calling it as function. Now for an instance, for example 1, 2, 3 and we have a and b here. This can be called as onto function, correct? This is an onto function if you remember. Now if I consider this as domain and this as range, B have two images in that case. What I am doing, please understand, when I am saying f inverse means the position of range becomes domain and the position of domain becomes range. Now these elements are acting as elements of domain and these elements are acting as elements of range. Now, you know, when it is a function, please understand, when it is a function, an element of domain cannot have multiple images. So here, since B have multiple images, this cannot take an inverse function. That means you cannot have an inverse function to this. This is definitely a function, but not an inverse function. Inverse function is not possible here. So what I am trying to say, every function will not have an inverse function. Every function will not have an inverse function is very crucial. Now when we'll have inverse function, most important thing here, 1, 2, 3, here I have A, B, C, D for example. Now here I have a mapping. Is it 1 to 1? Yes, it is 1 to 1. Is it onto? No, it is not onto. This is 1 to 1 but not onto. Now earlier this is onto function but not 1 to 1 function. Correct? It is not 1 to 1 function. So what happened? Inverse function was not possible. Now check this. If we have 1 to 1 but not onto, is inverse function possible? Check this. Here, this if I call it as domain, if I call it as range, two of the elements of domain do not have pre-image. Again, that is violating the rule of function. So this again cannot have inverse function. Definitely it's a function but not an inverse function. I mean, there is no inverse function possible for this. So try to understand, this is onto, not 1 to 1, it's a function, but inverse function is not possible because this has got multiple images. This is function, it is 1 to 1 but not onto. I'm sorry, this is not 1 to 1. I just try to make a correction over here, small change. This I can call it as 1 to 1. This I can call it as 1 to 1 but not onto. Why not onto? Because D have no pre-image, so it is not an onto function. It is definitely function. But here if you see, D, since it has no pre-image, once it becomes a domain set, for inverse function, once it becomes a domain set, D don't have an image. In that case, this will not have an inverse function. Both are functions, but inverse function is not possible. Now when I can say inverse function is possible, look at this case all of you. Here if I take 1, 2, 3, I take A, B, C and the mapping is done over like this. This is domain and this is range. Now can you call it as a function? Yes. Can you call it as 1 to 1? Yes. Can you call it as an onto? Yes. So it is a bijection function? Yes. Now if you take inverse of a function, taking this as a domain and this as a range, is it a function? Yes. Is it a 1 to 1? Yes. Is it an onto? Yes. So inverse is possible. So basically I am trying to say inverse of a function is possible when the given function is a bijection function. So it should be 1 to 1 and onto simultaneously, and it's called a bijection function, we all know that. So if a function is bijection, inverse function is possible. So the most important point or property about inverse of a function, when we can find inverse of a function, is it should be a bijection function, then we can find out here. Okay, all of you? That is very, very crucial. Now while writing this, we'll write f as 1, C 2 comma A and 3 comma B as order pairs, correct? Now the inverse part of this will be C comma 1, A comma 2, B comma 3 as inverse function. So what is inverse function, friends? Domain becomes range, range becomes domain, is called an inverse of a function. Okay, all of you? So we have some examples to discuss, that we'll discuss it once we finish all the types of functions over here. Okay, so let us move on to next. Now, composition of a function. What is a composition of a function? Imagine I have a function which is mapping from A to B and another function called G which is mapping from B to C. Please understand my point here. I'll show you with example. Here you see this one. This I call it as A, B, C. 1, 2, 3 with A, B, C over here. And we have P, Q and R as elements. Now, if I am mapping in this manner, friend, this is called as F mapping A to B. And now if I map it in this manner, this is called B to C. This is function F between A and B. Between B and C, it is function G. Now what is technically happening? This set to this set you are mapping. Final outcome, if I say like this, it is 1 comma 1 to B and B to Q. So sorry, B to P. So it is called 1 to P. Then 2 to A to R. So 2 to R finally, and 3 to C, C to Q. So it is 3 to Q is what you get here. This is called as a composition of a function. So what is basically composition of a function? Combining two or more functions as one single function is called composition of a function. So same thing, I'll represent it like this, my friend. I'll come to the outcome here. Here we call it as ABC. Okay, ABC, function F, function G, let us take. And here we have a variable called X. Now once you make a mapping between A and B, this is called F of X. X applying function F becomes F of X. And the same thing when you apply G, this becomes G of F of X. And this G of F of X, G of F of X, what we get here is also called as G O F of a X. So when you see this, it is starting in reverse, you need to check this. From function F to function G. So combining two different functions, that is F and G, is called composition of a function. So it should be taken in reverse. First F is applied and then G is applied. So this same thing can be also written like this. G of F of X. How do we pronounce it? G of F of X is what we have. Okay. Similarly, we can have for 3 also. The same thing we can also make it for 3. So that we'll discuss it here. Now, imagine you have something like set A, set B, set C and set D. This is function F between A and B, G between B and C, H between C and D. So F mapping between A to B, G mapping between B to C, H mapping between C to D is what you have. So here if you have X, after mapping or taking a function F, it becomes F of X. Applying G, this becomes G of F of X. And again applying H, this becomes H of G of F of X. So here what I am doing here, my friend, I am taking 3 different functions, combining 3 different functions into one function, and ultimately what I got here, H of G of F of X is the function which is mapping from A to D directly, which is mapping from A to D. You need to start with the innermost one. First we applied function F, then we applied function G, then we applied function H. So this is what happened, and then we can call it as A to D function. Okay, all of you? So this is what important, and the same thing in your questions you can find it as H of G of F of X. Both are same. Both are same. So what is basically a composite function? Composite function means combining 2 or more functions into one or making a single function is called as composite function. Okay. So this is the concept called composite function. Now let us move on to next final tips, final important points which we need to remember about functions, and that we'll see here. Explicit function and implicit function. Now what is explicit function? Sometimes you'll write f of x as, what is explicit function here? Sometimes you'll write it as f of x is equals to y square plus 2. That means this value of x we are writing in terms of y, completely in terms of y. Okay, so that is called as explicit function. Here you can call it as y, and this is called it as y, x here, sorry. This is called it as x here. So now sab nikalna padega. Now what is explicit function? You are defining a variable in terms of other variable, for example. You are defining one variable in terms of other variable. For example, if I say x is equals to y square plus 2. That means you are defining x in terms of y. This is called explicit function. So this can be also called as f of y. F of y. Or you are saying y is equals to 2x plus 3. That means you are defining y in terms of x, and this is also called as f of x, my friend. In that case, it is called explicit function. So it is very simple definition. When you say, for example, y is equals to 2x square plus 3x plus 5 as a quadratic expression, I said. Now this quadratic expression can be taken as a function f of x. So whatever the value of x you are applying here, that will be applicable on the expression, and you will get a value of y. So you are writing y in terms of x. This is completely in terms of x. So this is called explicit function. So one variable is defined in terms of other variable, or like a function or any kind of an expression, it is called as explicit function. Now what is an implicit function? If you take a combination, you see this example, my friend, I think this makes it very clear. A combination of expression or an equation which have both the variables involved. X and y both are involved. So in this again, linear equations have x and y both involved. Here one variable is defined in terms of other completely. There is no combination of x and y. In that case it is called explicit. Here if you use both x and y as combination or as an equation or as an expression, then we can call it as an implicit function. So you can see by looking at the expression or equation itself, we can say that it's an implicit or it's an explicit function. Okay. Next, there is another small definition called even function and odd functions. What is even function here, if you see? Let me start with the even function first. If you say applying f of x, see the example which I gave you here, f of x is equals to x square, for example. After you apply minus x, also if it is remained to be x square, or it is equal to f of x. Though if I am applying a negative value here, the value remains as the same positive. That means whether you apply a negative value or a positive value, if the value remains always same, then it is called even function. Now for example, if I apply f of minus 2 is equals to minus 2 whole square, which is 4, which can be possible by taking f of plus 2 also. So f of minus 2 and f of plus 2 both have the same value, then we can call it as even function. If sign changes, it is said to be an odd function. Like for example, you can see this example here, f of minus x is equal to minus x cube. Actually f of x is taken as x cube, but when I apply minus x, it becomes minus x cube. In that case, it is said to be an odd function. So what is odd function? If the sign changes, basically if the sign changes, then it is said to be an odd function. Okay. So these are the types of functions which we need to always remember, and there can be lot of types of functions, friends. Trigonometric functions are there, polynomial functions are there, and more work is to be done, have to be done on domain, range. Try to study this subject and know more about how to identify domain and how to identify range. I'll give you a few examples to make you understand how to identify domain and range. So let us see what is domain and what is range and how do we identify for different type of functions we have. Okay, so let me take a free space over here. This space will be sufficient, I guess. Fine. Now if you see what is a domain and range, for example, if I take y is equals to f of x is equals to sin x, if I take. You all know sine as a trigonometric ratio, and we know how to plot this sine graph on a graph paper. Now when we talk about sine function, we all know sine function, how it looks like, right? So if you have a little of idea about this is, let us take 2 pi here as a maximum and minus 2 pi as a maximum. So minus 360 plus 360, we all know these things, right? Basically this is 0. Then this can be taken as pi by 2 or 90. This can be taken as pi or 180. This can be taken as 3 pi by 2, that is 270 and 360. On the other side it is minus pi by 2 minus pi minus 3 pi by 2 as a value, and finally 2 pi. So this is something called minus 90, minus 180, minus 270 and minus 360 here. Okay, now sine here, if I mark it, sine 0 is 0, sine 1 by 2 or pi by 2 is something called as 1 plus 1, and here we have minus 1. Okay, so pi is 0, this is 1, this is 0, and then this is supposed to be minus 1, and this is again 0. So if you join this, my friend, it forms like a wave, and you can find this as a sine graph. Similarly on the other side also, this is to be minus 1, 0, plus 1, 0, and again this forms like a wave. Now what is to be understood immediately? When I am talking about domain, we all know in this graph, this can be considered as x-axis and this can be considered as y-axis. What all the inputs you are putting, those values as a set is something like minus 2 pi to 2 pi value you are keeping. This we call it as domain. So all the values which is ranging between minus 2 pi to plus 2 pi is called as domain. And you remember the brackets, they are closed brackets, they are used. The extreme values are also used here. So closed brackets are used. So minus 2 pi, minus 3 by 2, minus pi, pi by 2, 0, pi by 2, pi, 3 pi by 2, pi are the values of domain for sine. And when I talk about range, what are the outcomes I got? The outcome values on y-axis you should see. This you should see on x-axis. What all the values you are substituting from x-axis, consider as domain, and what all the outcomes you see on a y-axis. What is the range of y-axis used? If you observe, the maximum value of sine is up to plus 1 and the minimum value is up to minus 1. So here the range would be minus 1 to plus 1. That's a range. So it's very simple, my friend. What all the values you will take from the x-axis is called domain. What all the values you will consider as on y-axis is called as range. And range, we understand the maximum to minimum value what it can take, we call it as range. So this is what is very simple, you can understand. Now you can see f of x is equal to sin x. So when I apply in place of x as 0, I'll get 0, and that is equal to y. So when x is 0, see, please understand in this way. F of x is equals to sin x, and that should be taken as y. Okay, so when I apply 0, this is sin 0, which is all equal to 0. So when x is 0, y is 0. So this is the point which I got it here. Similarly, when I apply a pi by 2 here, so sin pi by 2, the value as it is plus 1. So here when I apply x value, that is pi by 2, I got the y value as 1. So when I apply x is equal to pi by 2, the y value is 1, and like that I'll get order pairs. What is the first order pair I got? 0, 0. Second order pair I got pi by 2, 1. Third order pair I got pi, 0. Like that I get order pairs. Those order pairs, when I apply it on a graph paper, I get a proper graph. So this is how the functions works. So functions, graphs are related topics. Once you understand functions, then it will be easy for you to understand graphs as well. Let us quickly take one more example, friends. I'll take an example here of, let us take y is equals to f of x is equals to 2x plus 3 kind of an expression. We all know if I say y is equal to 2x plus 3, and if I write this as 2x minus y plus 3 is equal to 0, this is called a linear equation. Now why it is called linear equation? It is in the form of ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 format. You can compare these two. It's a linear equation. Now when I apply x is equals to 1, this will be 5, When I apply x is equals to 2, this will be 4 plus 3 is 7. When I apply f of 0, like 0 if I apply, then it is 3. F of minus 1 when I apply, this is plus 1. F of minus 2 when I apply, this will become minus 1, and so on, it goes like that. Now when I plot the same on a graph paper, please, applying 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and here I'll apply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here. Now I got few order pairs here. What are the order pairs I got, friends? I got an order pair called 1, 5. I got an order pair 2, 7, 0, 3, minus 1, 1, and minus 2, minus 1 as order pairs I got it. Now when I plot these order pairs on a graph, if you observe quickly, I am taking a values from 0, minus 1, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. Here it is on the other side minus 1, minus 2 and minus 3. Here I'll take a values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on. Now let us apply this. When x is 0, y I got it as 3. When x is 0, y I got it as 3. This is the first point. When x is minus 1, y is 1. So this is something like your second point. Next, when minus 2, it is minus 1 here. So somewhere here it is possible value. Okay. And consider the same kind of a numbers. For 1 I got it as 5, for 1 I got it as 5 and so on. For 2 I got it as 7. When you join, you will get a proper straight line. So this is a rough unscaled diagram. When you scale it and try this, you will get a proper line, and that makes it a equation, that is linear equation for us. So the use of graph, if you see, this is an explicit function. Y is defined in terms of x. So this is 2x, my friend, don't get confused. It's 2x plus 3 which I have used it here. Okay. So for every value of x, there is a different value for y, and that becomes an order pair which we'll use it on the graph paper to get a value of graph. Okay. So this is how you should practice the functions, and we'll try to give more of examples in our other assignment papers. Thank you all. Take care.